Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're really zeroing in, pulling the key insights about future Trunks and Vegeta straight from their Dragon Ball wiki pages.
That's right.
This is for you, our listener, who loves getting up to speed quickly and thoroughly, enjoys those aha moments, but, doesn't want to feel bogged down by information overload.
Mm-hmm. Like a concentrated dose of Dragon Ball knowledge.
Exactly. So our mission here is basically to cut through everything and really pinpoint the core identities, the big differences, and the crucial relationships for these two iconic Saiyans.
Sounds good. Where should we start? Future Trunks.
Yeah, let's kick off with future Trunks, the survivor from, well, a future nobody would want.
And what's immediately striking is he's not just another Trunks. His whole existence comes from a completely different, broken timeline.
Right.
He's Vegeta and Bulma's son, sure, but his world was just devastated by the androids. It's totally unlike the main timeline.
That origin story is everything, isn't it? It colors his entire character.
It absolutely does. He's shaped by loss in a way present Trunks just isn't.
And the wiki lists so many names for him. Trunks Brief, alternate timeline Trunks, Mirai Trunks, which sounds cool.
Yeah, that one has a certain ring to it. Trunks of the future, too.
Even Prince Trunks, which
Yeah.
Paragus apparently called him. A little nod to his heritage there.
Right, even in that bleak future. And then the simpler ones like Trunks Future, Trunks Adult.
It kind of makes you think how each name reflects a different viewpoint or maybe a different part of his journey.
It really does. The sheer number points to how complex his identity is, how different people and timelines see him. Mirai Trunks feels heavy, destiny, sorrow.
Definitely. And his appearances across Z, Super, even Heroes.
Yeah.
He's clearly a major player.
Oh, yeah. His manga debut, The Coming of King Cold, that was huge. This new guy just shows up and takes down Frieza. Instantly dramatic.
Talk about making an entrance. And the anime debut, The Mysterious Youth, another apt title.
And he pops up in movies like Super Android 13 and games right back to Dragon Ball Z, the rest. He's woven into the fabric of the franchise.
So the basics. Half human-type Earthling, half Saiyan. The wiki gives his birth year, age 766.
And then that tragic death in his own timeline in 767 before reappearing in 780 and later 796. His life is just tied to these massive time jumps.
It really highlights the constant struggle, the cyclical nature of his fight for survival.
Yeah, and his jobs reflect that. Supreme Kai disciple later on, Dragon Team member, leading the resistance back home.
Even that brief stint with the Vegeta Sky Pirates, though non-canon, and they give his address, WST 333-8926K. Same as Bulma's place, right?
Right, grounds him a bit, connects him to Capsule Corp.
Family-wise, it gets complicated with the timelines. You've got the future versions of his grandparents, King Vegeta, Dr. Brief, Bikini.
The teacher Vegeta and future Bulma, of course.
And the wiki lists other versions too, Trunks EX, the Trunks from Cell's timeline, which is a whole other branching path.
Right, important distinction, plus another future Trunks from an unknown timeline, and Xeno Trunks. Lots of variations.
And his mentors are key. Future Gohan, Vegeta in the past, and future Shin. Each shaped him differently.
Future Gohan's influence is massive.
Ah.
He was Trunks' role model, his teacher in that desolate world.
Absolutely. Then Vegeta, pushing his Saiyan side, though that relationship is complicated.
Very. And future Shin represents a later stage, maybe taking on a more guardian-like role for his timeline.
Okay, let's dig into his personality. The wiki paints him as really respectful, especially to future Bulma and future Gohan.
You can totally see why, given what they meant to him. He valued connection because it was so rare in his time.
And that contrasts so much with his first encounters with Vegeta in the past. He wants his dad's approval, but he's also horrified by Vegeta's coldness.
Yeah, like that incident with Dr. Duro attacking the plane. Trunks is shocked Vegeta doesn't care about the innocent people. It's a real clash.
It highlights how different their worlds made them. Vegeta was still all about Saiyan pride back then.
Exactly. And Trunks' initial formality, calling them father and mother in Japanese, shows the weight of his upbringing.
Though he often shifts to mom and dad in the dubs later.
Yeah.
Shows him settling in a bit.
Yeah, adapting to the less formal present. It's interesting how his future knowledge works, too. He thinks he knows what's coming.
But then he gets surprised. Like when Piccolo fuses with Kami. He didn't see that coming.
Right. History isn't repeating exactly. And you see flashes of that Saiyan cockiness, like with Super Saiyan 3rd grade.
But he learns its downside pretty fast, that it's all power, no speed.
Exactly. Overall, he's serious, determined. The wiki mentions his politeness in Japanese, which feels like Bulma's influence, maybe.
Could be. It's a nice contrast to his grim reality.
Yeah.
Though that one time he flips off Cell on the manga. That's memorable.
Huh. Yeah, a rare outburst. Shows the Saiyan temper is still in there. And his PTSD after Goku Black appears. That's portrayed really effectively.
Mistaking Goku for Black initially, that really hits home how traumatized he was.
Definitely. It takes time with Gohan's family in the past for him to lighten up, find some normalcy again.
And his motivation for strength changes too, doesn't it? At first, it's just pure survival against the androids.
Right. But then meeting Vegeta, seeing his constant drive, it teaches Trunks the importance of always pushing his limits, not just training for the next immediate threat.
That's a big shift.
Yeah.
And that flaw Vegeta points out, relying on others, he actually turns that into a strength later.
Yeah, against fused Zamasu, right. Gathering energy from everyone for that spirit sword attack. It's like acknowledging his connections make him stronger.
And he becomes a really smart fighter. Tactical, not just raw power.
Oh, definitely. Years of guerrilla warfare against the androids probably taught him that. He has to be smart.
Like how he dealt with Mecha Frieza, or his strategies against Goku Black and Zamasu. Even using third grade as a feint against Vegeta in sparring.
Exactly. He adapts. He thinks. It's not just about transforming and punching harder.
The wiki also touches on his sadness about his own timeline, that he couldn't ultimately save everyone. But there's still hope for the new one he helped create.
It's poignant. He carries that weight. And those little details, like loving convenience store bento.
Yeah. And tinkering with machines, like his mom, it makes him feel more, well, real.
Totally. The bento suggests a life on the run, needing quick meals. The tinkering shows that brief family ingenuity.
Now, his bond with future May, that's a big part of his later story.
Huge. The wiki details their history, fighting side by side against Black, saving each other's lives constantly.
His absolute rage when he thinks Black killed her.
And the relief when she's okay. Healing her with a senzu bean. It's clear how much she means to him.
Even if they both blush and deny anything romantic is going on.
Pretty classic anime trope there. But yeah, she's his anchor in that dark future, a symbol of hope and resilience.
So, how does he stack up against present Trunks? The wiki emphasizes the environmental impact.
Big time. Future Trunks, because of the apocalypse, is more serious, more thoughtful, maybe more like Bulma in some ways.
Less cocky than present Trunks, who takes after Vegeta more in that regard.
Right. Future Trunks thinks before acting, better at seeing through enemy tactics. Present Trunks grew up in peace, so he's naturally more carefree, maybe a bit spoiled.
It's cool seeing them interact in Super. Present Trunks' initial jealousy over Mai.
Yeah, but then they form that brotherly bond. It's nice. Shows that connection can bridge even those huge differences in experience. For you, the listener, it's a great look at nature versus nurture almost.
Okay, let's shift gears. Vegeta, the Prince of all Saiyans.
Or former prince, technically. Vegeta Fett, that title still carries weight, though.
It does. And like Trunks, he's everywhere. ZGT, superheroes, even those cameos in Nekomajin and Jado.
His manga debut, The Needs of the Many, feels almost prophetic now, doesn't it? Given where he ends up.
Yeah. It's his full anime debut in Gohan's Rage, plus that early look in the Bardock special. He's just fundamental to Dragon Ball.
No question. His character arc is arguably the most dramatic and maybe the most popular in the whole series.
Looking at his basics, pure Saiyan. Though, yeah, the wiki notes that brief Tuffle Saiyan thing in GT.
A GT special, yeah. And his death dates? Wow. Age 762, 774, 779, 801. Even 889 way later. He knows the Otherworld check-in desk well.
Huh, definitely. And his occupations. Prince, high-class warrior, then Galactic Patrolman. That's a turnaround.
It really shows his journey, doesn't it? From conqueror for Frieza to fighting for himself to eventually fighting for Universe 7 and patrolling the galaxy.
His allegiances shift so much to Frieza Force, then Solo, briefly under Betty's control, Dragon Team, even Team Universe 6 for baseball.
That baseball game was something else. And ending up at the same Earth address as Bulma and Trunks just cements his change. WST 3338926K. Earth is home now.
His family tree is massive too. King Vegeta, his unnamed mother, Tarbal his brother, Bulma, Tights, Gur.
Then Trunks, Bulla future Trunks, even descendants way down the line like Vegeta Jr.
And look at his mentors and students, Whis, Beerus, Hebra, but also Trunks, Kaba, Shallot. He learns and he teaches.
That web shows his transformation beautifully, from isolated pride to forming deep bonds and even mentoring the next generation like Kaba. It's huge.
Okay, the core of Vegeta, his personality, arrogant, egotistical, immensely proud. That's the starting point.
Absolutely. And ruthless. Cold-blooded initially. His hatred for Frieza is a massive driver early on.
But the key takeaway, as the wiki says, is that strong character development, villain, anti-hero, then, secondary protagonist, Hero in his own right sometimes.
Yeah, it's complex. He never fully loses his edge, but his motivations change entirely. That journey is why people love him, I think.
He's tactical, often smarter than he acts, but that Saiyan pride, it trips him up.
Oh, constantly. He rushes in, underestimates opponents because of arrogance, like with Cell, letting him reach his perfect form. Classic Vegeta blunder.
But he's intelligent, serious,
Yeah.
doesn't really do humor unless it's that super dry, dark kind.
Like wanting to turn Android 18 into scrap metal or a toaster. That's his brand of joke.
But underneath, there are hints of respect even early on. For Piccolo, maybe? Implied grief for Gohan. Cracks in the armor.
Those moments are so important. They show he's not just a monster even back then. Sparing Krillin and Bulma on Earth, letting Gohan live, leaving Ginyu as a frog. Small things, but they hint at something more.
And that tearful confession to Goku on Namek about Frieza forcing him to be ruthless, that reframes so much of his early cruelty.
It really does. It adds tragedy to his backstory. He starts so self-centered, attachments are weaknesses, even kids don't matter much initially.
But falling for Bulma, having Trunks and Bulla, that fundamentally changes him, even if he struggles with it.
Yeah, the wiki mentions he was secretly ashamed, felt like family was making him weaker, less focused on being the strongest. That internal battle is fascinating.
And his view on avenging his race shifts too. Initially, he barely cares, surprises Nappa and Raditz with his indifference.
Right. But later, it becomes a reason not to rejoin Frieza, and he gets furious at Beerus for his role in Planet Vegeta's destruction. His Saiyan identity evolves.
The Buu saga. Man, that's pivotal for him. That obsession with Goku flares up again.
Leads him to make that terrible choice, becoming Majin Vegeta, just to get that power boost, that perceived edge, that evil he thought he needed.
But Goku sees right through it, knows he hasn't truly gone back.
Exactly. And then that hug with Trunks, telling him he's proud, right before sacrificing himself, huge turning point.
Shows he finally understands what's important. And then seeing his family killed by Buu later, that rage, that pain, it solidifies his change.
Yeah, no more unnecessary killing after that. He regrets his past actions deeply.
But he's still Vegeta, still vain, still egotistical. Letting Cell power up is the ultimate example. Refusing to fuse with Goku initially because of pride.
Peak Vegeta moments. But he does eventually fuse when necessary. He learns, slowly. And yeah, he underestimates perfect Cell Kid Buu. It's a pattern.
He loves a fight, but he's shown fear too, hasn't he? Broly, Beerus, Frieza initially.
Sure, but he confronts them eventually. He gets more aggressive against stronger foes, almost dismissive of weaker ones like Pui Pui.
And that rivalry with Goku, it defines everything. Obsessed with surpassing him.
Constantly. From contempt to rivalry to respect, even friendship, kind of. But always wanting to be number one. He even cries about it in Fusion Reborn.
But he saved Goku's life too, saying only he gets to defeat Kakarot.
Right. It's that complex mix. He was devastated by Goku's sacrifice against Cell, even vowed never to fight again, briefly.
His opinion of Goku shifts so much. But after Buu, it's more of a friendly rivalry, even if being called second best annoys him.
Still annoys him. He gets envious of Goku's new power-ups, but accepts some are just Goku things. Still wants that technical win, though, like with Copy Vegeta or Goku Black.
His disgust at Black stealing Goku's body was interesting. Shows respect for Goku earning his power.
Yeah, that body was built by Kakarot's hard work. And he's always rolling his eyes at Goku's immaturity, especially around Chi-Chi. Almost always calls him Kakarot, too.
A constant reminder of his Saiyan name, his heritage. But he does back Goku up when Goku gets serious. Gave him energy against Jiren.
Yep, and Pan calls him Uncle Vegeta. Shows how integrated he's become.
The others come to respect him too after Buu. Even Krillin and Tien. And his relationship with Tarble is surprisingly gentle.
Yeah, despite Tarble being weak by science standards, maybe because Tarble admires him so much, Vegeta had mellowed by then too.
Post-Buu, he's more relaxed, smiles more, jokes occasionally, trains for his own limits, not just beating Goku. Has that little age crisis in Super.
Still arrogant, still competitive in Super, but way more open to teamwork, protecting Earth. He calls it his home now. Doesn't want to lose another planet.
Develops real morals too. Turns down the God of Destruction offer. Refuses to rejoin Frieza.
Big steps. Now, the relationship with Bulma, that needs unpacking.
Oh yeah, rocky start on Namek. He threatened her.
He did, but there were tiny hints maybe. One dub had him call her gorgeous. Bulma thought he was cute after Namek blew up.
Then she invites him to live at Capsule Corp. With a no-touching rule, apparently.
Huh. Yamcha gets jealous. Vegeta's irritated by her bossiness, but usually gives in. Bulma gets really worried when he injures himself training.
Then she breaks up with Yamcha. They have that affair. Trunks happens. The wiki says it was maybe passion, loneliness, and future Trunks' timeline didn't last because of Vegeta's priorities.
Yeah, it's never fully detailed. One night stand, short affair. But they argued a lot. Vegeta seemed indifferent to her, and baby Trunks early on, like with the plane incident.
That indifference puzzled everyone. But the 7 years of peace after Cell must have changed things. They're married by the Buu saga.
He initially stayed for Trunks, the wiki suggests, but grew to genuinely love Bulma deeply by then, even if he hid it. Ashamed of the softness.
The Vegeta thing was partly trying to reject that, right? Get back his evil.
Yeah, but it didn't work. He realized family was important, felt remorse, sacrificed himself. Bulma forgave him after Buu, happier since.
And we see his funny side about her sometimes. Old Kai's pictures, jealousy of Jocko.
That comment about big breasts, threatening to bathe with Wiz if Bulma went, he respects her strong will, which the wiki notes is a Saiyan thing.
Their relationship in Super feels very real, very loving underneath the bickering.
Definitely. And his rage when Beerus hits Bulma, surpassing Goku in that moment, that says everything.
He fears her temper, though. Protective, praises her inventions, does what she says, mostly.
Secretly gutted by future Bulma's death, too. Vowed revenge on Black. Got annoyed when Bulma only mentioned Goku as their hope.
Chose to stay with her during Bulla's pregnancy instead of training for the tournament. Cared for her.
Didn't like the name Bulla, wanted something Saiyan, but accepted it, even willing to work with Frieza in the Tournament of Power to save his family.
And that moment losing to Jiren.
Yeah.
Thinking of Bulma and Bulla feeling guilty, apologizing to Bulma with tears. Powerful stuff.
It truly is. That relationship is the core of his change. From hostility to deep, protective love. Bulma's strength matches his pride perfectly. His devotion becomes absolute.
Okay, whew. That was a proper deep dive into future Trunks of Vegeta.
Definitely covered a lot of ground there.
So wrapping up.
Yeah.
We've got future Trunks, the tough survivor from that awful future. Respectful, tactical, carrying that timeline's weight.
Right. Shaped by loss and resistance.
And then Vegeta, the proud prince on this epic journey. Arrogance, intense rivalry, but ultimately finding love, becoming a protector, though still flawed.
It's an incredible arc. From ruthless Saiyan to, well, Vegeta. There's no one quite like him.
And even though they share Saiyan blood, share family, their different lives forge such distinct people. The depth shown in these wiki sources is pretty amazing.
Absolutely. Their contrasting paths really show how much our circumstances shape us, even with the same roots. Trunks is defined by survival, Vegeta by his gradual integration and changing priorities on Earth.
So a final thought for you, our listener, to chew on. Considering these two, one molded by surviving the end of the world, the other by a long, complex journey from prince to protector, what single factor do you think was most decisive in shaping who they ultimately became?
Good question to ponder. There's always more to explore with these characters and the whole Dragon Ball universe.
Indeed. Thanks for diving deep.